Hello everyone, welcome back or welcome to Astrology with Georgie. If you're new here, hi, I'm Georgie. I'm a Western astrologer living in the UK, bringing you basically weekly videos on new moons, full moons and any other extra astro updates that I feel may be relevant for you. Now, if you do get value from this video, please give the video a thumbs up. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you don't miss any future content from me when you get lost in the abyss of YouTube. In this video, we are going to be discussing Mars moving into Leo. Mars has finally left Cancer. Can we have a hallelujah? As a Cancer rising, I feel like I'm about to be free. If anyone feels the same, feel free to comment. How has Mars in Cancer been going for you guys? What has been happening in your lives? Mars is finally moving out of Cancer and into Leo, and I think this calls for some sort of celebration. But before we get into it, just to mention, I do readings. If you would like your own personal chart read, please see the information in my description. It's on the page somewhere. I'm also now on Substack, guys. So if you like written content, you can sign up to the monthly newsletter, weekly newsletter, for free. If you want to be a free subscriber, you can subscribe to the newsletter, or if you would like to support my work, you can support my work for as little as $2.99 a month on Substack. You don't have to have the app, you can just receive email content, and in that content we have horoscopes, we have personal stories for me, and we have one monthly astrology teaching as well. So shameless plug over, don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button and drop a comment to help the algorithm do its thing. And yeah, so in this video we're going to be talking about Mars. What is Mars? What has Mars been doing in Cancer? What is Mars going to do in Leo? And we are going to run through the signs. Now, if you are in a Mars profected year, that means, depending on your age, go to astroseek.com, you can draw up your annual perfections. If Mars is your Time Lord of the year, then what Mars is doing is going to be more specifically more relevant to your life. Or if you have Aries or Scorpio placement, Sun, Moon or Rising, then Mars is going to be that little bit more relevant for you because it's your ruling planet. But for everyone, Mars is going to be moving somewhere through your chart, through a certain section of your chart. So I'm going to run through the signs so you'll be able to see exactly what this transit could look like for you. Now, Mars has been in Cancer for what feels like forever. If we go back to 2024, Mars entered Cancer in, I want to say October, but maybe I should just definitely check that before we say October. So let's just skip back so we can see exactly when Mars first entered Cancer. Oh, it was even before then. Good job we checked, Georgina. So it was actually the 5th of September when Mars first entered Cancer. So that's when kind of the Mars Cancer story first begun. Now, this may feel more relevant to the cardinal signs because it's an angular house for you. So Cancer, Aries, Libra and Capricorn. Something started around then. A storyline started playing out for you in terms of something that needed fixing, something that needed sorting, something that has been going through some sort of process. Now, the reason I say that is because Mars then went retrograde. So it went through the sign of Cancer, it then entered Leo and it went retrograde, I want to say in December. Let's just again, should have had these dates ready, shouldn't I? Yeah, so it went retrograde early December all the way back into January, and it moved back into the sign of Cancer. So Leos and Cancers were feeling the brunt of this retrograde, and when Mars is retrograding, it is reworking something. Mars rules our energy, it rules our action, what we're motivated towards is our sexual energy, it is what we're striving for, what we're putting our, quite literally what we're putting our physical energy into. It rules our, it's the masculine energy of us. So when Mars did its retrograde process, we would have felt lower energy. We would have felt like we were just mulling over, okay, what do I want to be putting my energy into? Now, Mars went all the way back to 17 degrees of Cancer, and then it went direct and stayed in Cancer and really started slowing up. So it's been in Cancer for the whole of the year, bearing in mind we're now in April. Now, the reason this is kind of also extra important is because Mars is in the sign of its fall in Cancer. It doesn't perform well. and Mars is a malefic planet, so it's one of our challenging planets. And if you were born in the day, it's going to be your most challenging planet in your chart, but for everyone it's still a malefic. And so it's been moving through the watery emotional sign of Cancer. And so for all of us, this has been playing a part in how we respond to things. It's been an emotional response coming from us, a passive aggressive response coming from us, a response where it's been more difficult in order to say how we feel, assert our energy correctly, healthily, and obviously, you know, this is a long time period, but there would have been times where this was more relevant, there would have been times when this was less relevant for you personally. But just generally speaking, it has been doing something in the Cancer section of your chart, reworking something, and this storyline is still playing out because Mars is still there. Now, for Cancers especially, this is obviously going to have felt quite frustrating, but as we're moving, we've gone through March and now we're into April, and Mars is sitting at 29 degrees. 17th of April it is today. Tomorrow it shifts into Leo. Now it will still be in its shadow until it gets to around the 3rd of May, the 6 degrees of Leo. And what that means is the shadow period is when a planet has already covered that ground. So it comes forward, it covers a certain section of the chart, it goes back, it covers the same section, and then it goes forward and it covers the same section. So this section of the chart, this is the shadow phase. This is really relevant because it means the planet is covering it 3 times, forward, back, forward. So something is really, really important about this section of your chart. So obviously this is going to be really important if you have a planet there. So if you have a planet and degree of Cancer, early degree of Leo, this story is for you going to be more relevant in some way. If you don't have a planet there, it may be that you have to think a little bit harder about what this has been teaching you in the Cancer Leo section of your chart, but especially the Cancer section, because this is where Mars has spent the longest of its transit, and also it's in its fall, so it's been more challenging. Now Mars is, you know, Mars rules conflict. It's conflict, it is aggression, it severs, so it kind of ends things. It can be frustrating in that way. It can bring us frustration because it is the planet of frustration. Now, on the other hand, it is also the planet of action, energy, like I said, and so we can feel called towards moving towards something. The retrograde would have been frustrating as you're trying to move towards something that you don't have the energy to move towards. But Mars itself, it's not all bad. It's not like wherever Mars is, really bad stuff's happening. It can actually be really good for motivating you. As a Cancer rising myself, having Mars in my first house, well, Mars actually is quite happy in the first house, even though it's in the sign of Cancer. But the first house is about you, your self-expression, what your life direction, what you're putting your energy into. So actually Mars in the first can be quite beneficial in terms of going after what you want. So it's not all bad. Mars burns, okay, so it is inflammation, it is encouraging you to move towards and to sort something out. Now, as it moves into, with Mars being in Cancer, there's been themes around family, home, living situation, pets, frustrations around this. Where Mars is going, there's conflict. So, and this could be for everyone, conflict within the home, conflict within the family, feeling frustrated about somebody you live with, or feeling frustrated about something to do with family matters, whether it's a pet, whether it's a child, whether it's a family member, or having to fix stuff in the home. There's a lot of themes around having to fix stuff in the home, or wanting to protect your home, because Mars is defense. It's defensive. So wanting or needing to protect your home in some way. So this is, you know, getting a dog, getting an alarm, and also lots of people fixing stuff within the home. That's very Mars in Cancer. So on the one hand, that can be kind of practical. Not so practical when things are just breaking and you're having to fix them, which I know the retrogrades have brought a lot of that on. Because we've had Mercury and Venus retrograding. But now that Mars has finished its transit through Cancer, is moving into the sign of Leo, we need to think about, okay, what is Mars like in Leo? Mars operates much better in Leo because Leo is a fire sign. It's a sign that is friendly with Aries, which Mars rules. It is the sign of leadership. It's the sign of children, creativity. It's our ego. So Mars in Leo is channeling our energy into leadership, channeling our energy into creating something. We're going to feel more energized, especially as we are still in shadow, but Mercury is now finished retrograding and Venus is now finished retrograding. And actually, as I speak, 17th of April, there are no planets currently retrograding until the beginning of May, when Pluto's going to go retrograde. So technically, this is forward motion. We can move forward when planets aren't retrograding. Now, I say that, but we are still in shadow, so things aren't 100% back to normal, shall we say. But they are moving forward a little bit faster, which is great. Now, Mars in Leo is channeling that energy into what we're creating, channeling that energy into matters to do with children. So this is also a fire sign, and this is our business. You know, if you have your own business, this is matters to do with business, entrepreneurship. Now, obviously, I'm going to run through the signs and run through where this happens in your chart. But what's interesting about this transit is we are going to see a third Mars-Pluto opposition. Now, this is, I'll skip it forward a day so you can see. I mean, Mars is opposing Pluto now, and it's going to get stronger. But when it moves into Leo tomorrow, 17th tomorrow. Oh, sorry, I was looking at the wrong day. I was thinking, why is that not moving? Okay, so Mars is going to exactly oppose Pluto on the 25th of April. So just make sure, guys, that you are doing some morning meditation. You're calming yourself. You're not doing anything dangerous. You're not taking any risks, although you may feel a bit compelled to take risks with Mars opposite Pluto. But Mars opposite Pluto is quite a gnarly energy. It's a power struggle. An opposition is usually about another person or having to balance something out. Obviously, Mars is aggression. Pluto is the higher octave of Mars. This is kind of like two angry planets opposite each other in a fire and an air sign. So they're not being slowed down like they were. Well, I think Pluto was still in Capricorn at the first opposition. But now it's shifted into Aquarius. This is air and fire. This is conversations. This is things flowing more freely. Water and earth is slow. Air and fire are quick. So there will be things come up in the news around this time, especially as we will have had a new moon in Taurus during this opposition. So there is going to be something, things coming up in the news that probably aren't very nice. Maybe things to do with fire or burning or maybe storms and stuff because of Pluto in Aquarius, and more things to do with planes. I know there's just been so many things to do with planes, but more things to do with planes coming, definitely. Things exploding, things, maybe arguments in crowds to do with children and groups of people. So just be careful if you're taking kids to like large groups or parties or things like that, because there can be like, for the most part, it's going to be like a frustration, like you're going to have like a bit of a standoff with someone. That's going to be most people's experience of it. But collectively, worldview, it's going to be things that you see coming in the news, kind of catastrophes and disasters, unfortunately. But on a personal level, it's just going to be probably something that's a bit more frustrating or annoying. So don't kind of think the worst, but we can see kind of difficult things come up with Mars opposite Pluto. So that's going to be interesting. The plus side is that Mars is not in Cancer in the sign of its fall. It is in Leo. Yes, it's fire, but it's not in the sign of its fall. When planets are in the sign of their fall or detriment, things just happen in a worse kind of way. So that's kind of the overhaul of Mars and Leo, moving more passionately towards our creative projects. We can be ego driven. We can be kind of, I'm right, I'm the leader, I'm this, I'm that, because Mars is, it's that overbearing kind of bold, brash energy. In the sign of Leo, it can really go after what it wants. So that's why we just kind of have to be careful that we're not kind of stepping on anyone's toes a little bit. But I'm going to run through these signs now. So listen for your rising sign, because that's going to be the most literal. You can listen for your sun and your moon, but the rising sign will be most accurate. So Aries, Now, this transit is important for you because obviously Mars rules you. So wherever Mars is moving, whatever Mars is doing, it's your chart ruler. So it's going to be more relevant, and you're going to feel the energy shift. So you could be feeling much better under this transit, because not only is Mars not in Cancer anymore, your 4th house of emotions, family matters, frustrations within the home, feeling emotional, kind of passive aggressive, also like good stuff like sorting things out in the home, clearing home out, all of that stuff can come, so it's not all bad, but just conflict within the home can often come up with Mars in the 4th house. And in the sign of Cancer, it's like passive aggressive conflict, not being able to really assert yourself in a healthy way. Now, as Mars moves into your 5th house, this is your house of creativity, your house of business, children, love, romance, dating, fun, hobbies, self-expression, anything that involves you being in the limelight, you having fun. This is the house all about you. So your energy during this transit is going to be focused on what you do for enjoyment, how you can have fun. You're going to be putting energy into maybe going out, having a new hobby, maybe doing something that is kind of magic, or you know, doing a new hobby in terms of divination, tarot. Topics around kind of divination can come up because Mars also rules your 8th house, and it's moving through the 5th. So it's tying in topics of, what do I do for fun? Oh, I'm going to do some really dark taboo topics for fun. You know, I'm going to do a Ouija board. I'm going to do a ghost hunt. All of that kind of stuff can show up during this transit. And it's putting your energy into your love life. So you could meet somebody. You could have a romantic partner. You could go on a date. You could feel really kind of sexy and like confident during this transit, because this is the house of fun, right? And Mars is our sexual energy, and it rules you. Now, this can be conflict. So if you're in a relationship, you can feel that your partner's annoying you more. You're just getting into conflicts a little bit more. So that's just something to watch out for. But you can channel this into healthy energy. It could be that you and your partner are doing more physical things. You're going to a gym, you're climbing a mountain, you're going for a bike ride, you're doing physical sports with a partner. And if you are into sport, then this is a really good transit to actually have more energy towards the sport that you enjoy doing. Maybe taking up a new sport is also possible. Some of you could be borrowing some money to join a new sport fun thing, or like, this is the house of joint finances, and this is the house of risks as well. So I'm thinking like some of you could be gambling or betting, or that kind of stuff. Now, this is also the house of business. So money coming to you through business matters that you've earned through clients, that you've earned through, you know, if you work in coaching, or if you work in helping other people transform in some way, your energy is going into your business. Your energy is going into creative something. You can really feel really creative under this transit, and really passionate about the work that you're doing. So that is a really positive manifestation of this. Now, the beginning of this transit, so the end of April, while Mars is exactly opposite Pluto, just watch out for a power struggle. So there could be a power struggle between you and your friends, you and a friendship group. It could be conflict between a lover and a friendship group, or there's just some sort of, what am I doing versus what are these other people doing? The 5th house is also children, so focus on, if you have children, focus on children, or your child could be acting up, or there could be kind of being a bit more, kind of misbehaving a bit more with Mars in the 5th, especially opposing Pluto. So there could be some power struggles with a child and their behavior not being great during this transit as well. But for the most part, you know, this is a sign that trines you. You can utilize this energy for creative outlets, self-expression, and all the things I mentioned. So let me know in the comments, Aries, if you're excited about this transit, what are you excited about? And if you're watching this kind of later down the line, as Mars has already done this transit for you, then let me know how it has played out for you. And I will see you in the next video. Taurus, so Mars has been moving for you through your 3rd house. This is social media. This is how you connect with others. This is your siblings. So this is, you know, maybe you felt frustrated or annoyed about things to do with your siblings. Maybe there's been some conflict within the neighborhood. Maybe you've been putting your energy into writing or reading or learning something. You could have been putting your energy into that. There could have been difficult conversations come up with a partner, or there's things that you've been working through to do with your mental health, I would say, because Mars rules your 12th house of self-undoing, things going on behind the scenes, and it's in the third house. So on the one hand, you could have been working on something behind the scenes, but Mars in Cancer is kind of frustrating, so there can be an element of frustration. Like I said, conversations can be a little bit kind of passive aggressive, or there's been kind of tension to do with transportation. So, you know, has there been, I mean, we're talking months, we're talking the whole year, has there been kind of conflict and tension around your transport? So this is cars, buses, trains, things going wrong, things, you know, people acting aggressively, siblings acting aggressively for some of you is possible, or just having conflict with siblings, like I said, or getting annoyed at siblings or relatives. Third house is, like I said, our neighborhood. So frustrations within the neighborhood or conflict with neighbors can also come up during this transit as well. But for the most part, this is about our mind. So maybe you have been not quite yourself mentally, I would say, during this transit. And as Mars moves into Leo in your fourth house, on the one hand, Mars is better in Leo, but on the other hand, Mars in the fourth, it's a sign that squares you. So you've got the square to contend with. So there's a little bit of effort that needs to be put in. Now, the beginning of this transit, which is around the end of April, beginning of May, Mars is going to oppose Pluto. So there is an element of something happening between maybe you and a parent, some conflict between you and a parent, or something to do with your home and career. So maybe something happens at home and it's affecting your career. Maybe there's family matters going on that are affecting either your reputation or your public image, or how you're seen, or your career. So it could be a conflict with the boss because of something that's happening at home. So that's just something to watch out for. Mars in the fourth house is about probably putting energy and passion into home matters. So it could be that you're just renovating, you could be fixing things, you could be putting picture frames up, you're cutting, you know, a lot of this is like cutting things. So for an example, I currently need to stick my bath panel back on, and it's going to require cutting off all of the ceiling, and that's very Mars in the fourth house, like quite literally cutting things. It could be that you end up cutting yourself, but hopefully not. It's kind of tearing things up, sorting things out. So maybe as we're moving into through spring into summer, you're giving yourself, you know, a spring clean. Your energy is going into energy of the family and of the home. Now, there could be some conflict with family members, some frustrations with family members, but you would have already been kind of experiencing this with Mars in Cancer anyway. But it's a similar vibe, like frustrations within the home. So people you live with annoying you, people you live with maybe having some conflict, or maybe you're doing something with a family member, maybe you and a family member are putting energy into something, potential conflict with a partner, potential maybe you are healing something or doing some spiritual work with a family member is also possible. So it could be that you are doing some sort of energy healing on a family member, and that would be a good way to utilize this energy, because Leo is passion and creativity. So it could be that you are passionate about, you know, meditating or doing Reiki on a family member. That would be a good way to work with that energy. Now, this could also have something to do with children, because it is in the sign of Leo. Mars rules your 12th house of hospitals and clinics. So it could be some sort of hospital or clinic appointment during this transit to do with your family. So you growing a family, you having a child, maybe you're having to have a hospital appointment, that can kind of come up. But mainly this is going to be about putting energy into your home, sorting things out within the home, potential conflict, but just something to watch out for. You can utilize this into kind of, healing family members or healing a partner as well. So let me know, Taurus, it depends when you're watching this, save the video so you can come back. How did this transit play out for you? And I will see you in the next video. Gemini, so Mars has been transiting your second house of your finances for the entire year. Mars rules your 11th house of goals, groups, networks, and your 6th house of work. So there's been a lot to do with you earning money and you putting your energy towards money, towards finances. Could be that you've been clearing out possessions, especially as obviously we had the retrograde. So there's an element of clearing out possessions or fixing things, fixing possessions, fixing up your finances, deciding, what you want to put your energy into, what you're working towards, feeling more kind of driven towards your money, but there can also be an element of perhaps spending money on pets, spending money with friends, maybe lending friends money. Some could have come from this. Mars tends to burn through, so when Mars transits the second house, sometimes it can be that you're spending, but you're also earning at the same time. It works both ways. So it's not all bad, but it can just be sometimes that you're having to pay out for something. Maybe you're paying out for a gym membership or a diet plan. All of spending more money on your health was possible, and spending money on groups, on friends, and on your future goals was also possible. Now, as Mars moves into Leo in your third house, I think this is quite a nice, fun transit for you. It's a house that sextiles you, so it's a friendly house. In the sign of Leo, it's much happier than it was in Cancer, and Leo is all about passion, creativity, and drive. The third house is our mind, so we can be creating stuff in this house. We can be writing. If you run your own business, or even if you don't, it could be that you're putting more energy into written blog posts, into social media. You can be deciding, what am I passionate about? What am I creating? You can feel frustrated around social media stuff with Mars in the third. It can be that, maybe things aren't getting seen and you're getting frustrated around what you're putting your energy into. Is anyone seeing my work? There can be an element of frustration. But really you can just utilize this to get creative and get passionate about the information that you're putting out into the world. Now, the third house is also our community. It's everyone that we speak to on a day-to-day. So it's like our neighbors, the postman, the person down at the shop. It's all those kind of social interactions come in under the third house. So you may notice people are more fired up in those environments. This is also the house of transportation. So whether you drive, whether you get the bus or the train, noticing people being more fired up, especially because it's in Leo and this is like passion around that. So it could be that people are giving you road rage, or you're getting road rage, or the bus driver's driving like a maniac and someone's shouting at him, that kind of stuff. Things could be happening with your neighbours, or on the local estate. All of that kind of stuff can come up with Mars in the third. Energy towards your siblings. So frustrations or just potential conflicts. Just be careful with how you say things with this transit, because Mars in Leo in the third is how we speak. So great for communicating. If for example, you're on YouTube, great, you're having the energy to communicate. But if you're just talking to like a sibling or a relative or anyone, you can just have a bit of a sharp tongue. So that's just something to watch out for. You're going to be better at just saying what's on your mind with Mars in the third. But there can also be an element of your thoughts are being stirred up. So on the one hand, you can have a lot of creative thoughts coming to you, but on the other hand, your thoughts can be stirred up, so you can get annoyed more quickly during this transit. Just something to watch out for, especially conversations with children. So if you have your own kids, just make sure that you're speaking to them in a kind way. Now, the beginning of this transit, around the end of April, Mars is going to oppose Pluto at 3 degrees on the 26th. So this is like power struggle. So it could be that, again, it's like that conversation with you and somebody else. Just be careful how you're speaking around the 26th. It could be frustration. It could be that you're frustrated about something that you're learning, or somewhere that you're traveling. You're seeing things not quite playing out as they should, or there's some frustrations in places you're traveling. So yeah, that's just something to watch out for around the 26th. But for the most part, this is going to be just encouraging you to get creative, get on, emails, phones, social media, whatever it is, you're putting your energy into that. So if you are a creator, then this is really, really beneficial for you in that sense, especially if you work on like the internet, because Mars rules your 11th house. So yeah, good luck, Gemini. Let me know. It's also could mean that you're really super busy, like just traveling around everywhere. That is another thing, you're here, there, everywhere, and it can be a bit exhausting, but you're going to have the energy to do it. So let me know how this transit plays out for you. You can always save the video and come back and look back over and see, okay, how did things manifest for me? And I will see you in the next video. Cancer. So you guys have got Mars finally moving out of your sign. So what's been going on, Cancer? What has been going on since, well, pretty much September, October last year? Now, Mars rules your 10th house of career. It also rules your 5th house of business, children, creativity, romance. It's been in the 1st house. It's done the retrograde. it's been in Cancer, the sign of it's full. So what frustrations have you had this year, Cancer? And where have you felt that things are not moving forward? Have you felt like screaming into a pillow at times? There could have been anything. It could be that you're having frustrations around things to do with your children or other people's children. Frustrations around your career, not knowing how to move forward, not feeling like you can move forward with all the retrogrades. There's just a lot of frustrations and a lot of feeling like you are just going slightly mad. Right? I'm thinking of that song. Is it Queen? I'm going slightly mad. Yeah, that just came into my head. That could have been some of you, not all of you, but you know, a lot of you will have been feeling this. And really, it's about the direction of your life, because the first house is the direction of your life. It's what you're putting your energy into. So where have you felt stagnant, stuck, frustrated, and what has been being fixed? Because now Mars is moving into Leo in your second house. So Mars in Leo is much happier, it's passionate, it's dynamic, it is creative. Your second house is your finances, your values, your self-worth, your possessions, everything you own. It's what, you know, it's your physical world, your physical material world that is around you, and what you have created, what you have earned, what is around you. So Mars moving here, bearing in mind Mars rules your 10th house of career and your 5th house of creativity. So this is very much money you're earning from your career. Your energy is going towards your finances. There could be some changes. There could be some forward motion. You are feeling more creative and more passionate about career moves and how you want to make money. And it could be coming from your business. It could be coming from creative matters. It could be that you're spending money on things you enjoy. And actually Mars does burn. So it could be you're burning a hole in your pocket from spending money on having fun. That's just something to watch out for. Now, this is also, you know, what do you value? Thinking, I don't want to say thinking, passion, you know, this is putting your passion towards things that are important to you because you value them. You value what you're creating in terms of your business and your work. And there's this drive towards sorting your financial matters out, building your resources around you. There's this fiery energy around building your resources around you, and you're going to do it from the work you're creating, from the legacy you're building, from your own business, from yourself, from your self-expression. You are building something. Your energy is going to be there, the passion is going to be there, the creativity is going to be there. Now you want to watch out around the 26th of April, because Mars is going to oppose Pluto in this house. This is going to be a power struggle between somebody else's money and yours, or something that's owed to you, or having to borrow money, or feeling frustrated around your own personal transformation and what you value. You know, this is the house of crisis. This is the house of what's truly important. This is our concrete evidence of what's around us. This is everything we can't see. So there's some sort of push and pull here between what's real and what's not. What I have, what somebody else has. Just a point of tension, and this will be the third time that this has opposed, but it'll be the first time it's happened in these signs. So there could be an element of financial stuff, or it's stuff to do with what's really important versus things that you need to let go of, 8th house. So watch out for that. But generally this is you putting energy and action into what you're creating, what you're building. And you can utilize this because it is in the sign of Leo, into your leadership and you taking ownership of what it is that you know, how you're making money. So let me know, Cancers, how you think this is going to play out for you, or if you're watching this later on, how is this playing out for you? Is money coming to you? Are you spending too much? This can be a case of just spending, but at the same time you're earning. So that's just something to watch out for. But let me know in the comments, and I will see you in the next video. Okay, Leo. So this is now going to become all about you guys. So you have had Mars in your 12th house for the whole year. This has been kind of digging up your subconscious fears, digging up things, secrets and things kind of behind closed doors. This is your mental health. So this has probably been kind of interesting. On the one hand, it's like taking your energy inwards. And on the other hand, it's like how you self-sabotage. There can be, you know, how have you kind of self-sabotaged so far this year, Leo? Mars rules your 9th house of your beliefs, and it rules your 4th house of family. So definitely things to do with travel, home, family, emotions, and things going on. Lots of stuff going on behind the scenes, I would say, with you guys. Some frustrations behind the scenes, conflict behind the scenes, to do with family members especially, and inner emotions kind of being buried, and now things are kind of coming full circle and you're being able to focus on yourself. As Mars moves into your 1st house, into the sign of Leo, I actually think this is pretty good transit, because Mars in Leo is passionate, creative, dynamic. Now around the 26th, watch out, because Mars is going to oppose Pluto. So this is conflict between you and another person. There's going to be power struggles, a push and pull, tit for tat. So just be careful around the 26th. Try not to retaliate, and try and channel your physical energy into exercise, because you will have more energy during this transit. If you've been like hiding away for some reason, Mars in the 1st is going to encourage you to get out there, to really shine, to use your creative energy, to focus on yourself. Family matters can come to the forefront. They can affect your life direction. Your beliefs can come to the forefront. Maybe you are going to be encouraged to learn something new, or to really have some sort of call to faith during this transit. But you are going to feel more passionate. You are going to feel more maybe entrepreneurial. Maybe you're busier. You are exercising more. Like I said, channel this into exercise, because if you've got pent up energy. Mars in the 1st house is very energetic. It's very motivated. So you're going to be called more towards leadership, taking the reins, and just standing up for yourself, I would say. Mars in the 1st is very much like, I'm doing my own thing and I'm standing up for myself. Kind of focusing on your life direction and where you're headed, I would say, during this transit. But like I said, just be careful with that opposition. Now the 7th house is other people, so it can be people you're working with, it can be business partners, romantic partners, parents, friends. Any one-on-one relationship can be this is you. So people coming at you, so that's just something to watch out for. But you're in your own lane. You're focusing on yourself, Leo, with Mars finally out of your 12th and into your 1st. Get creative, get motivated, and let me know how this transit plays out. You know, this is a positive transit, I would say. Mars can be frustrations as well, so there can be inflammation of the skin, inflammation of the body, especially like, you know, this is your body. So for example, if you're a girl, this can actually make your periods a bit more painful, because Mars inflames stuff. So sometimes it can inflame parts of your body. So that's just something to watch out for. But you know, again, you can channel this into physical activity. Try not to injure yourself, because that can often happen. That's what I would say, actually. Around the 26th, don't do anything dangerous. Don't get on a motorbike. Don't go bungee jumping. Don't do a skydive, unless you've had your own personal chart checked. But Mars opposite Pluto in the 1st house, you're more accident prone, should we say, especially if your ascendant is anywhere around 3 degrees. Definitely avoid anything dangerous. But apart from that, use this energy for action, motivation, and enthusiasm. Let me know, Leo, what's going on for you, how you think this transit is going to play out for you, and I will see you in the next video. Okay, Virgo, you guys are having Mars enter your 12th house. Now, Mars has been in your 11th house of goals, friendships, organizations. This is the house of the humanity. This is our vision for the future. And Mars has been here the entire year, creating this element of reworking something to do with your goals, to do with your friendships. Maybe you've been going through your own personal crisis or transformation, and therefore this has been affecting your goals, or you have been relying on friends in some way. Mars also rules your 3rd house of the mind and of friendships. I just feel like there's been something going on to do with your goals, like family goals, friendship groups, Mars has been working something out here. Some of you may have lost friends or fallen out with friends. Others, this may be more to do with just your future goals and what you're working towards, and there being some frustration, especially if it's around family matters. But as Mars moves into your 12th house, this is going to be putting your energy inwards. The 12th house is our mental health. So there is going to be focus here, especially as Mars rules your 8th house of intimacy and personal transformation and crisis. This is about healing something. This is about letting something go. This is about seeking spiritual healing for psychological issues. So for example, this is the house connected to spirituality, meditation, Reiki, sound bathing, spas, retreats, any place that we go to heal. This is a place of worship. This is churches, spiritual churches, religious churches. So because Mars is ruling your house of the mind and the community, and it's ruling your 8th house of psychology, moving into the 12th is calling you to heal something, to let something go around your physical body. This is a good time to get a massage, to quite literally have physical healing done to you because of private matters going on. Now, this could also be the 8th house is our resources. So this is joint finances, taxes, investments, and then Mars moving into the 12th, there could be a sense of where's my money gone. So if you have invested in something, there could be an element of kind of things disappearing for some of you, not all of you, but that could just be relevant for some of you. And like I said, Mars rules, this is the house of, siblings, relatives, the mind, what we're learning. So again, this could be you're putting your energy into learning things behind the scenes, working on your mental health behind the scenes, speaking to siblings and relatives, or they're going through some sort of healing is also possible. The 12th house is where we self-sabotage. So there could be an element of putting your energy towards escapism tendencies can happen with Mars moving through the 12th, because this is the house of self-undoing. For a lot of you, you're just wanting to turn inwards. So just watch out for self-sabotaging behaviors. You could just feel your energies lower with Mars in the 12th, because this is the 12th house is the last house of the zodiac, and Mars is preparing for a fresh cycle. This is the end of a cycle in terms of your energy. So it's a really, really good time to utilize this. Just stay at home more. Work on your mental health and look after yourself. Now, at the beginning of this transit, around the 26th of April, there is going to be an opposition between Mars and Pluto. Mars in your 12th house of hospitals, clinics, mental health, opposing Pluto in your 6th. So this could be feeling mentally not great around this time. So if you've just noticed, it's the 26th, I'm not feeling mentally well, that's going to be this opposition, because this is highlighting energy and healing. These are the healing houses. These are the health houses. So you could be focusing on having a doctor's appointment or a clinic appointment, or just focusing on your mental health around that time. For some of you, it might not be that. It might be things to do with something that you're creating behind the scenes and work stuff. But there's just an element of frustration or power struggle around the 26th. So that's just something to watch out for around that time. So let me know, Virgos, what's going on for you. Depending on when you're watching this, are you midway through this transit? How's this manifesting for you? Let me know in the comments, and I will see you in the next video. Libra, so you guys are having Mars moving into your 11th house. So Mars has been in your 10th house of career for the whole year, which has made this very relevant for you because you are a cardinal sign. So Mars has been doing this really long ingress through your 10th house. So this has been frustrations, this has been putting energy, reworking something to do with how you show up in the world, your career, your bosses, authority figures. This is your public image and your reputation. And so on the one hand, Mars here makes you more motivated. So you could have been more motivated at work. You could have been more motivated towards climbing the career ladder, more motivated towards kind of building your legacy in some way. But because we had this whole retrograde and Mars in Cancer is not in its best placement, there's an element of frustration and not getting somewhere with Mars in Cancer. So it could be that you've been feeling frustrated around career matters, you've been having conflicts with bosses, you've not been seen or recognized, or there's been something that you're having to work out to do with parents, maybe conflict with parents, maybe just maybe getting trouble with the authorities for some of you. Now this is also because Mars rules your 7th house of relationships, and it's in the 10th house. This is to do with your partnerships, so this could be business partnerships, relationships, so working something out with a partner. And it could be, you know, on a positive note, it could be that maybe you've got married, or maybe you've got divorced, because Mars does tend to sever, but Mars is also our energy. It could be that you've been spending money, or there's something to do with your finances and your career, so making more money from work or pushing towards a pay rise, and actually maybe that's where the frustrations came in. So you've been pushing towards a pay rise, pushing towards kind of sorting your finances out with Mars moving through the 10th. Now as Mars now moves into Leo, which is your 11th house, this is putting focus on your friendships, on the groups that you're a part of, on your goals. This is your hopes and your dreams and your wishes for the future. This is also the house of like charity work. So it could be that you're doing like a charity run or something, because Mars is our physical energy. That would be a really good manifestation of this. And this is actually a house that's friendly with you. It's a sextile because it's fire and you are air. So with Mars ruling your 7th house and your 2nd house in the 11th, it could be that you're putting your energy into your goals for the future with a partner. You know, maybe you and your partner are really thinking, okay, what do we want from our lives? Where are we headed? What is our vision? And you're getting really creative and really passionate about where you're headed. Now, Mars, like I said, rules your 2nd house of finances. So there could be a focus on your financial goals. This would be a really good time to create a vision board to, really kind of get to grips with what it is that you're working towards and get creative. This is also the house of the internet. So it could be that you're earning money from the internet, you're earning money from, oh, sorry, that was my cat doing some weird dance. You're earning money from the internet, you're earning, maybe clients are coming to you through the internet. That's also possible during this transit, but there's a lot of focus on you being of service or putting your energy into group work, organizations. If you work in an organization, there could be some conflict here. It could be some conflict in a work environment, or it could be conflict with a friend, because 7th house of relationships, 11th house of friendships. So just watch out. There could be some conflict with a friend, or it could be that you're putting your energy into spending more time with a group of people. So you're spending more time with friends. And maybe you're thinking about what it is that you value about your friendship groups. Now, Mars does tend to sever, so yes, there can be some conflicts and some fallouts with friends. I think maybe I just repeated that twice. But yeah, I think I've literally just repeated myself, haven't I? But because this house is friendly to you, and Mars is happy in Leo, careful with kind of, there's a lot of fire here. So it's a lot of like, that's why there's potential for conflict, because of the amount of fire. My microphone just fell over. Is it still on? Yes, sorry, amateur over here, or it would seem. So it could just be that you, like, it's a friendly house to you, so you can utilize this energy in putting your efforts, motivation, creations, passions into what you're working towards with your partner, with a friend, spending time with friends, or humanitarian or charity work. So let me know, Libra, how you think this transit is playing out for you, depending when you're watching this. You might be watching this halfway through the transit, you might be watching this at the end of the transit. So let me know what has happened during this transit, and I will see you in the next video. Scorpio. So you guys have had Mars in your 9th house for the whole year. Now, the 9th house is actually a really fun house. So you'll have to let me know how this has played out for you guys. But there could have been some kind of frustration during this transit to do with your beliefs, or to do with travel plans, or things that you are learning. On the one hand, you could have been motivated towards expanding your beliefs, putting energy into travel. But because we had this whole retrograde process and things have been kind of going back and forth, and it's been happening for a really long time, have your beliefs changed at all during this time? Have you Have your beliefs around your health, or maybe you've had to kind of focus on your faith when it comes to your health. Maybe you've been envisaging your future when it comes to health goals and health matters. Mars, because Mars rules you, this is kind of directly affecting your energy. So Mars in Cancer is a little bit suppressed and passive aggressive, and so you would have felt maybe frustrated around matters of what it is that you believe in, or your hope, or your faith, or what, you know. The ninth house is how our worldview, it's our bigger picture. And so frustrations around being able to see the bigger picture could have come up at times. But it's also tying in what you're working towards, your health and your routines. And there's just been a focus there on maybe wanting to improve certain aspects of your life, but maybe not knowing how, or you've been called towards kind of, like I said, opening your eyes and seeing things from a bigger picture. Could have been some changes to your beliefs, like I said, because of something that's happened. This is also the house of law and legal matters, so things could have happened to do with paperwork, legal matters, passports, documents, you know, parking fines. Any of that could have come up with Mars moving through the ninth house. Jury service, all of that kind of stuff can come up, which is kind of exciting. And actually maybe you would just kind of focus on travel plans during that time. But because it's been such a long transit, it's more to do with your wisdom and how you're learning and how you're growing. This is the house of like personal development. So what has been going on for you over the past few months, and how have your beliefs changed? How have you grown? And what's been happening with like travel and kind of education stuff. Now, as Mars moves into Leo in your 10th house, you are going to feel more passionate and more creative when it comes to your career and your business and what you're creating. Now, you got to be careful at the beginning of this transit, because when Mars gets to 3 degrees, it is going to oppose Pluto in your 4th house on around the 26th of April. So you just want to watch out for power struggles between your boss and family matters. So there could be conflict between what's going on at work, what's going on at home. Someone's trying to tell you to do one thing and you've got to do another. And there's just some sort of frustration with Mars opposite Pluto. There's some sort of power struggle between maybe a parent and a family member, maybe a parent and you, maybe, or yeah, like I said, things to do with like people at work, and there's frustrating matters because of stuff going on at home. Now, as Mars moves through the 10th, you are going to feel more motivated, more called towards just business matters, just being more seen. You know, this is the public, your public image, your reputation. So you can feel more seen during this transit. Mars rules your 6th house of your work. This is what you're working on day to day. It's up here in the 10th. So getting more recognition for your work. If you run your own business, this is really good for just being seen, but it can also be, you know, conflict, like I said, with bosses, with authority figures, so people that you're working for. Just be careful that you're, you know, speaking to them in a calm manner. You've got that respect piece there, because there can be kind of a bit of frustration, but you're putting your energy and you're creating new things around your career. You're feeling more motivated, Mars rules you, around your vision, how you're seeing your legacy and what you're building. So this is a positive transit, but it is a house that squares you. So it does require some sort of effort, some sort of working through something. And Mars can be frustrating because it is a malefic planet. So there can be some frustrations about your career and about where you're headed at the same time as you having all this energy to put towards it. So that's just something to know, is where your energy is going to be directed for the next couple of months. So let me know, Scorpio, what is going on for your work? What has been going on with Mars being in Cancer? What happened for you, and how have your beliefs changed? And depending when you're watching this, you know, how is this manifesting for you? How is it playing out? And what are you putting, you know, what's happening at work in terms of what you're putting your energy towards? Let me know in the comments, and I will see you in the next video. So Sagittarius, you guys are having Mars moving into your 9th house. So Mars has been in your 8th house. This has been tricky for you guys, because Mars has been here all year. Mars rules your 5th house of love, joy, romance, creativity. It also rules your 12th house of secrets, self-undoing, things going on behind the scenes, self-sabotaging behaviors, and it's been in the 8th house of secrets coming to the surface, psychology, psychological matters, death, transformation, rebirth. This is the house of our joint finances, and Mars has been reworking something here. So I feel like this transit has been interesting for a lot of you guys. So what has been going on with Mars in your 8th? Have you been sorting out joint finances to do with a partner or a child? Have you been rethinking your mortgage or your investments, your pension? You know, you've been reworking something financially. Mars has been helping you work something out financially, but it's also been taking you on a personal transformation, and this has been affecting maybe your mental health. This is the house of our own transformation. What transformation have you been going through, Sagittarius, psychologically during this transit? Maybe to do with a romantic partner, maybe to do with a child, maybe to do with, you know, what do I do for fun? You know, maybe focusing more on divination. So this is like psychic stuff as well, especially as Mars rules your 12th house of spirituality. So there can be some focus there on kind of divination stuff and stuff you're doing for fun, and you putting your energy into it. But as Mars moves into your 9th house, this is going to be more about your beliefs, what you're learning, and travel. Now, Mars rules, like I said, it rules your 12th house. This is faraway places. Maybe you're going to be dreaming of going somewhere far away. Maybe you are putting your energy into having faith over something. And it could be because of something to do with a romantic partner or a child, but you're focusing on religion, on spirituality, or having faith in some way. Mars is what we're putting our energy into. It could be that you are wanting to learn something new because of your business. You know, this is higher education, so putting your energy into studying something behind the scenes. Maybe you are having some sort of conflict. This is the house of legal matters, so there can be some conflict to do with paperwork and legal matters. We can see things to do with like divorces or paperwork, and that kind of stuff can come up with the 9th house, and having conflict there can be possible with Mars, but just having to sort stuff out. Now, Leo is the sign of creativity and passion. It's heart-led. So a good way to utilize this energy, and this is a house that trines you, a good way to utilize this energy is to think, okay, what do I want to study? What do I want to learn? And how can I really expand my mind and see the bigger picture of this situation? Whatever it may be, whatever it may be. But this is about seeing the bigger picture, gaining wisdom. How are you gaining wisdom? How are you growing? Like I said, Mars can sever, so it can be if you're studying something, it can be suddenly finished. Maybe if you run your own business and you've been learning something, that's suddenly finished. You've suddenly qualified, you've suddenly graduated, or you've just decided to stop whatever it is that you've been learning or doing. You've just decided to quit. That could be possible for some of you. But for a lot of you, this will be like your beliefs, your faith, and putting energy into having a call to faith. Or traveling, you know, that's always fun. Now, around the 26th, Mars is going to pose Pluto in your 3rd house. So this is, you know, this is mental. This is your mental health, because it's calling you to see the bigger picture and to come out of the details. And so that can be quite challenging, having an opposition in this house, because this is the house of information, but it's the house of it's the mind. So just watch out for, just struggles with your mental health during this opposition, or power struggles around conversations, especially with like someone that's trying to teach you something, whether it be a teacher or someone that's helping you with legal matters. There could be some back and forwards and power struggles around legal matters. So that's just something to watch out for. But let me know, Sag, how this transit is playing out for you, depending when you're watching this, what's going on in your life right now. Let me know, and I will see you in the next video. Capricorn, you guys have had Mars in your 7th house of one-on-one relationships the whole year, bringing frustrations to your partnerships. This is your romantic partnerships. This is your best friend, your parent, your child, business partnership. This is a doctor, therapist, probably somebody at home though, because Mars rules your 4th house of family and home. It could be, or a friend, yeah, because Mars rules your 11th house of friends. Frustrations with somebody. You've been working through something to do with family matters, maybe with a partner, like I said. Maybe they've been annoying you. Maybe they're going through some sort of psychological thing that they've been working through. Cancer is emotional. Maybe they have been having their own emotional breakdown or taking their emotions out on you. But you've been having to sort through something in terms of your relationships with Mars and Cancer. Now, as Mars moves into Leo, into your 8th house, this is a house that is quincunx you. You can't see each other, so something needs working out. Mars in Leo is better than Mars in Cancer, because Mars in Leo is creative, it's passionate, it's dynamic. But the 8th house is joint finances, other people's money, your any joint finances you have. So this is like your investments, your taxes, your insurance, mortgages, all of that kind of stuff. Mars rules your 4th house of home, so it could be that you're having to borrow money because of something going on in the home, because you did have a lot of retrogrades here. So if you're having to fix something in the home, could be that you're having to borrow money. Could be that you are putting your energy into finances. So it could be that you're choosing to invest. It could be that you're taking financial advice from a friend or a group or something. But there's an element of joint finances being relevant in some way, and it could be something that you're having to sort out in terms of, if you own a house, maybe you're having to sort that out. Maybe you're having to pay more money to something. That can also be possible. This is the house of intimacy. So getting intimate with a partner, getting closer with a partner, all of that intimate stuff, you know what I'm saying. Mars rules your 4th house of home, getting intimate with people that you live with, hopefully only one, but there's just that call to go closer, or to have those deeper conversations is possible as well. This is the house of divination. This is the house of the psychic. So maybe you and a family member, or you and a friend, are going to a tarot night, or you're going to see an astrologer, or you're going to therapy. Maybe a family member is going to therapy. Maybe a friend is going to therapy. Maybe you're going to therapy with a group. Maybe you're going to group therapy, or you are maybe an organization that you're a part of. You're getting more intimate, or you're having those psychological conversations, shall we say. What else do I want to say about this? Yeah, this is just the house where things get deeper. This is also your own personal crisis, death and transformation. So a family member could be going through a transformation, or you are. The 4th house is your innermost part of yourself, things that you keep to yourself, your emotions. So your emotions going through something quite deep right now. So this can be quite a sensitive transit for you, guys. This is the house of, it's like everything intimate, and the people that you can get intimate with, and there's just energy focus there for you. So you'll have to let me know, Capricorns, what has been going on for you, depending when you're watching this. How is this transit playing out for you? And I will see you in the next video. Aquarius, you guys are having Mars entering your 7th house of one-on-one relationships. Now, did I mention... Just trying to think, did I mention... Never mind. So you have had Mars in your 6th house of your work, your routines, your health, the whole of the year. So what's been happening in terms of your work environment? Have there been conflicts in the office? Have you been rethinking your work and your schedules and what you want to be doing? Have there been frustrations around your schedules in terms of appointments? Have you been having a lot of kind of health appointments, doctor's appointments, that kind of stuff? Because Mars rules your 3rd house. Working on projects, creative projects, writing projects, learning information, all of that. But there's been kind of reworking something, putting energy into something in terms of what you're creating, as Mars was in Cancer. Especially career matters as well, because Mars rules your 10th house of career. Now, whatever frustrations or whatever you've been working through, Mars is now moving into your 7th. So this is putting energy, and it's a better energy because it's Leo and it's creative and it's dynamic and it's enthusiastic and it's Mars is happier in Leo. Now Mars in your 7th house is you are putting your energy into your relationship. So this can be you and your partner are working towards something. You're having certain conversations because Mars rules your 3rd house. So just be careful around conflict. But there's going to be more conversations with a partner. Now, Mars transiting the 7th can be like your partner's annoying you. There can be some frustrations and some conflict within a relationship, especially if you have planets in the 7th house. They can get activated by Mars. But it could just be that you and your partner are busy together. You're doing something together. You're traveling somewhere together. You're going on all these trips, or you're having conversations, or you're learning something from a one-on-one partner. Maybe you're speaking to a therapist, or you're working with somebody at work, and you and somebody at work are studying something together and having lots of back and forth and conversations. That can be possible, and that's where your energy is going into. Maybe you're getting creative with a partnership of some kind. This is any kind of partnership. Spending more time with friends on a one-on-one basis. But this Mars is also like I said, conflict. So there can be some kind of I don't want to say friendship fallout, because that is possible. There can often be some kind of like I said, conflict or fallout, but I think this is probably a lot going to be to do with what you're working on, what you're creating at work with you and another person, or it could be the goals that you and your partner are working towards and you're putting energy into that. It's like, what are we working towards? What are we focused on at the moment? Are we changing neighborhoods? Are we, doing something different in our relationship? And how are we having these conversations? And how are things different for us at the moment? And there's just a lot of focus between you and a partner. There is going to be a Mars opposite Pluto around the 26th. And this is power struggles between you and another person. Somebody is going to be opposing you. So just watch out for power struggles, conflict around the 27th. Someone trying to assert their power over you, or vice versa, and you just not seeing eye to eye. That could be the case. But apart from that, it's going to be just more energy, more action, more of your energetical focus on other people, or you are attracting. Maybe your partner is the one that is more kind of motivated and kind of het up during this transit. That can also happen as well. So let me know, Aquarius, how this is going to play out for you, and I will see you in the next one. Pisces, so you guys have had Mars moving through your 5th house of love, romance, children for the whole year. Mars has been sorting something out to do with children, to do with romance, to do with creativity, to do with your fun and your hobbies. So on the one hand, you could have been putting a lot of focus into your own hobbies. You could have been having some conflict with a partner during this transit, some frustrations. There could have been some frustrations around children or topics to do with children. Mars rules your 9th house of your beliefs, and also your 2nd house of finances. So spending money on a partner, spending money on hobbies, spending too much money on hobbies is possible. Spending money on dates and all this kind of stuff, but also maybe spending money on children, and an element of seeing the bigger picture when it comes to what it is that you're creating, seeing the bigger picture when it comes to children, seeing the bigger picture and having faith when it comes to your own business. All of those themes could have come up with Mars moving through your 5th house. Now, as Mars moves into your 6th house, Pisces, you are being called to focus on your health, your work, and your routines. This is also your pets. So on the one hand, you could be really motivated at work. You could be channeling a lot of your energy into creative projects at work. Maybe you're just really busy, earning money from projects that you're on. Definitely some money can be coming in from things that you're working on at the moment. But there can also be some conflict and some frustration. So it could be that you are not, not seeing things. Well, Mars is acting fast. I don't want to say not seeing things come as quickly, but you're getting impatient. So maybe you're impatient around the work that you have to do. You want it to be done, but there's a lot to do, that kind of energy. This is the house of health, so just be careful around inflammation. This is where we can see things become inflamed because Mars aggravates stuff. So if you had a niggle of something, Mars can aggravate this. Now, around the 26th, there's going to be an opposition between Mars and Pluto in your health houses. So you could see something come up here. It could be something physical, it could be something mental, it could be that you're having to go to a hospital appointment, or there's just some sort of power struggle between maybe somebody at work, maybe things kind of coming out from the surface that you weren't aware at work, or in terms of your own health, things coming from the surface, and just you becoming aware of your physical and your mental health, and how you're really trying to balance those could be coming up for you around the 26th. Just know that your physical health does affect your mental health, and vice versa. So maybe there's like a bit of a realization around, how can I look after my physical body, how can I, you know, really nurture myself around this time, and there's going to be some focus on that for you. Could also be some frustrations with your pets as Mars moves through the 6th house. Just your pets being annoying, maybe the cat's pooing everywhere or something like that can show up, or the dog's just being really annoying, you know, that kind of thing. And Mars rules your 2nd house of finance, so it could be that you're having to spend money on a pet, and that could be kind of annoying. But for the most part, it's going to be you're focused, maybe you're motivated on getting your health back on track. Maybe you're motivated around eating healthy, or getting a diet plan, getting a health regime in place. You know, you're motivated towards health and work matters. So that's the kind of the positive manifestation of that. So let me know, Pisces, depending on when you're watching this, how is this transit playing out for you? Can you feel yourself? Is there conflict in the workplace? Are you putting more energy into work? What's happening in your daily, your work, your routines? And what happened when Mars was in Cancer? I'd be interested to know how that transit played out for you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget, I do personal readings. If you got value from this, please give it a thumbs up and drop me a comment, because that helps the algorithm do its thing. Come and join me on Substack. I'm also on TikTok and Instagram. All of my pages are linked on my YouTube page, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye.